Hi, and welcome to British Dad Reacts. My name is John. Thank you so much for watching. A band was formed in around 1974, just outside London. And they became one of the icons, I think, of the punk and post-punk era. And they stood out for a number of reasons. This is one of their songs from their first album, called Rattus Norvegicus, or however you pronounce it. It was then part of a live album that they released. This is a song to be played loud. This song hits you right from the first note. A little bit of rhythm guitar, the keyboards, and then the bass just really kicks in with a slight distortion. I'm going to start it again because it's just a fantastic opening to a song.
She's just trying to impress us, and she's got the valley fever, but she doesn't make a sound. She's just hanging around. She's just hanging around. Down the corridor early with the hushes big and burly. There's a million of them selling, and the buyers can't be found. They're just hanging around. They're just hanging around. Told his mother, Christ told her not to bother, cause he's alright in the city, cause he's high above the ground. He's just hanging around. He's just hanging around. He's just hanging around. He's just hanging around. One of them comes closer, he's got a monkey on his shoulder. The monkey's getting greener when his eyes are on the ground. He's just hanging around. Just hanging around. I'm moving in the coal herd with the leather all around me, and the sweat is getting steamy, but their eyes are on the ground. They're just hanging around. They're just hanging around.
For a live version on this album, it's such a great version of the track. I personally think this is the best version of this track. It's just got so much energy and anger almost that the Stranglers used to portray in some of their music. The Stranglers were a great band, and different in many ways to a lot of the punk bands, because musically, I think they were better. And I think a lot of that comes from, for me anyway, the keyboards. Dave Greenfield on the keyboards seemed to be a master of understatement at times, but also just to kind of offset the rhythm and just provide a different noise within the music. And obviously the great bass guitar of Jean-Jacques Burnel, jet black on the drums, hitting them really hard, and you can hear that. And then Hugh Cornwall and his voice, fantastic voice for this kind of music.
Christ told his mother, Christ told her not to bother, because he's alright in the city, because he's high above the ground. He's just hanging around. He's just hanging around. He's just hanging around. He's just hanging around. the city, 'cause he's high above the ground. He's just hanging around. He's just hanging around. He's just hanging around. Just watch him hanging around. Like you, hanging around. Like you, hanging around.
Fantastic. Just fantastic. Again, for me, the keyboard use by Dave Greenfield in so many of the Stranglers songs, just for me always set them apart. It gave them just another layer that gave them such versatility, I think, in their music. And obviously the pounding bass of Jean-Jacques Burnel. The Stranglers were a fantastic band. And to see them live was just incredible. It was just wild, wild, wild. This album, live excerpt, I remember buying for a friend of mine for his birthday. And as we always had the arrangement at the time, if you bought an album for somebody, you were allowed to tape it yourself first. And so you had a version on a cassette tape. Obviously not the legal thing to do at the time, but everybody did it. And we didn't have a lot of money, so it was what you did. The song Hanging Around is about some of the things that they were seeing in London and around London at the time, people hanging around. The first verse is about a woman they recognised from a bar who was always getting drunk. The second verse is about all the drug dealers around Earl's Court, and they mention court. Third verse is really about a friend of the band who they described as being old before his time. He kind of acted 40 when he was only 20. And the fourth verse is about a gay pub in London that I think one of them used to visit called the Coleherne. But it's a great, great song. And it just, for a song that was recorded so early in their career, it really has so much kind of depth to it. And a great, great band, the Stranglers, and still recognised as so influential. A couple of the band members still tour. Hugh Cornwall obviously left the band in about 2015. He was originally, he's the lead singer and the guitarist. He was originally a blues musician. Jet Black, who was the drummer, I think he was slightly older than the rest of the band because he used to run some businesses before he got back into drumming. He was a jazz drummer originally. He unfortunately died in 2022. Jean-Jacques Burnel, he was... It's interesting that they were smart boys, these. Jean-Jacques Burnel was actually a classical guitarist before he went on to play the bass in the Stranglers. Dave Greenfield, just a fabulous, fabulous keyboard player, and what he could add to their sound was amazing. He played at a lot of military bases with bands in Germany in his early years. He sadly died in 2020. A great song from a great band, and just, I don't know, there's always been such a power in those early Stranglers songs. Thank you so much.